What's up everyone, this is FP Sticks bringing you some more Go Battle League battles here in the Great League, and in today's video we're going to be featuring a team that is very similar to a team comp that you've probably already seen if you know of Caleb Pang, another one of the top content creators here on YouTube. Always creates really interesting teams, but I actually came up with this team like not really fully aware or like thinking about the Caleb Pang team where he ran Tropius and then Double Dark in the back like this, but I really wanted to get some use out of VENUSAUR. I feel like VENUSAUR kind of has an interesting spot in the meta right now. Azumarill is still everywhere, Galarian Stunfisk is still everywhere. And VENUSAUR kind of breaks apart that core a little bit. Sure, the matchup with Galarian Stunfisk isn't like overwhelmingly great, but what I've found is that a lot of people just don't plan for going up against the VENUSAUR. VENUSAUR either can like steamroll an entire team, or it kind of just has no play. It seems to be very polarizing, but I have been using VENUSAUR, not this specific team for like I've been using a couple different team comps using VENUSAUR, and it's been a lot of fun, and this Double Dark in the back really took a lot of people by surprise. So obviously Return Sableye is the safe swap here. I know I'm featuring a lot of teams with Return Sableye as the safe swap. It's because I just, you know, relatively recently built my Return Sableye, and so I'm trying to get as much use out of it as possible. For those that are curious, the IVs that I have on it are a 12, 14, 15. So I will be able to make it a little bit XL, and I'm working on Best Buddy with it as well. This team comp here, so like the VENUSAUR Double Dark, was a lot of fun to run. Also on my previous video where I posted the double counter users in the team, apparently that was also a Caleb Pang team, which is hilarious, but he did make the video like over a year ago, and again I was like completely unaware, but it's kind of crazy. It popped up in my recommended videos yesterday, and it was like, oh my gosh, this is gonna look like I just absolutely copied it, but it was from a year ago. So and the meta is like completely different now compared to like the preseason. So VENUSAUR against Shiftry is not super great. Shiftry can actually win this if it is able to successfully bait, and luckily they were in Frenzy Plant range, and so I'm just going to, I have to get into my Umbreon here. This team comp of Hypno Double Dark in the back is really strong, because typically I've seen this team comp, there's always a Scrafty in the back, because Scrafty is like one of the hardest punishes to a dark type switch in, like an Umbreon like this, and then they sometimes have their own Umbreon in the back, or I've also seen like this team comp, for example, had a Shiftry that was able to hard punish my Sableye. So there's really just no mobility for me with this team up against this Hypno Double Dark team, unfortunately, because obviously the confusions on VENUSAUR just absolutely wreck. Frenzy Plant still does a lot of damage, which is great, but it's also a Shadow Hypno, so this is way worse for me because the confusions just really chunk. And unfortunately there was I tried to wiggle my way out of whatever situation I could, and it still did not work out. But this team was a lot of fun. I really love running these ABB lines and having a double weakness in the back, because I tend to have a pretty aggressive play style, so these double weak teams are totally fine because I'm able to bait out the counters that I don't want to see. So this is obviously a favorable lead for me. They did get an extra counter through. They let that Frenzy Plant go, which is really good for me. If this is a foul play, it's worth shielding. So I'm going to shield it and then try to commit to the farm here. I'm really hoping that this is just a power-up punch, but it's actually another foul play. So that was a terrible way for me to play out that lead. They bring out a Drifblim, so there's no point in me staying in here. Even though my VENUSAUR has such minimal health, I'm going to give up switch advantage because I need to bait out the Azumarill that could potentially be in back, and there it is. So I'm able to get a shield with the return. That's really good for me. I'm going to let this play rough go through. I'm really glad that they just go for play rough and KO me, because they're not able to farm any extra. I have loaded energy on VENUSAUR. All I got to do here is get to 2 Frenzy Plants, and Umbreon is going to be a really solid response to their Drifblim. So even though the lead matchup kind of went terribly for me, Umbreon's going to be a very solid hard punish to their Drifblim. Umbreon is like the best possible response to any ghost types or psychic types that switch in. It's just a very solid response to that. So keeping it in the back is pretty fun as like a nice hard punish to a potential Sableye safe swap, a Hypno, a Defense Deoxys, a Mew. These are kind of fairly common safe swap Pokemon. So my opponent switches into a Razor Leaf Tropius and they led Galarian Stunfisk. So Venusaur, I feel like is really going to have a lot of play here. I'm farming, and now I'm going to switch into Umbreon because they are in foul play range. I think this battle is up against For the Battles, another content creator. You can check her out on Twitch. She's a really talented battler. Just going to go for the foul play here. It's going to take out the Tropius. If she brings out the Galarian Stunfisk, I'm still going to be able to get so much chip damage off of it. I'm out of Earthquake range. She pretty much has to go for Earthquake plus Rock Slide here. Or she could potentially go for 2 Rock Slides and then try to Mud Shot down. But yeah, this is just a very awkward health range for her to have to deal with. And this Umbreon is so bulky. I'm not really going to get Mud Shotted down. I have energy stored on my Venusaur. I'm able to get to another move, so she's going to have to shield this or sacrifice all this energy she has on her Stunfisk. I have a Frenzy Plant loaded on Venusaur. So I immediately throw it, and let's see what she wants to do. She does shield, does not want the energy to go to waste. I am in Rock Slide range, so I do have to shield this. And she has 2, it's to be expected. But I feel like it's worth the shield, just in case there is an Azumarill in the back. It's actually a Pelipper in the back, so I'm going to throw this Frenzy Plant, and then I need to get out of here so I don't get Wing Attack down. And my Sableye should barely be able to Shadow Claw this down. This is just going to be a Weather Ball, which I survive, and then I should be able to safely land the foul play on the G-Fisk and take this game. Venusaur literally had play against all 3 of those Pokemon, so by storing energy and being able to rip off a lot of charge moves, it really output a lot of damage. Okay, this is tough because if this Ferrothorn is running Flash Cannon, it definitely can win this matchup. Frenzy Plant is double resisted. My opponent switches into an Alolan Marowak, and Umbreon is just such a solid response to this. They go for Bone Club here. Technically, either Shadow Bone or Shadow Ball is still the way to go. Even though it's resisted, those moves get stab damage, and they're just way better moves in general. Bone Club is a terrible move. You don't get stab on it. I do want to leave this matchup with as much stored energy as possible. If there is an Azumarill in the back, I want to be able to get off as much last resort damage as possible. They actually bring out the Ferrothorn, and so I'm going to continue chipping away with foul play. Umbreon is really going to town here. Really going to town. If this is Power Whip, I still survive it. Oh my gosh. And it's very hard for them to Bullet Seed me down. I get another foul play. What is this, like the 5th or 6th move that I've thrown? They're trying to Bullet Seed down. Okay, yeah, they have to throw here. Totally fine by me. Now, I still have no idea what they could have in the back. It might be Ferrothorn Double Ghost. They might have their own Sableye in the back. It's actually an Altaria. I did not predict this at all. I'm going to go straight for the Sludge Bomb here. And then I'm actually going to overfarm a little bit more and go for another Sludge Bomb. And then I'm going to make my move into Sableye at this point because I needed to burn these shields. Actually, I'm going to shield this. Store a move, most likely. Actually gonna throw another Sludge Bomb because I need to put this Altaria into like foul play range. But now my switch clock is wildly out of sync with my opponent, and this is something that I unfortunately was not super aware of when I was in the heat of the moment because this Ferrothorn is very loaded on energy. I'm gonna get hit by a Power Whip here. Ouch, that does so much damage. And then I undercharge because I need a little bit of residual energy. I'm able to get 1 Shadow Claw through. That's very clutch. Out comes the Altaria, and I am just barely able to get to this foul play. Yikes. Very, very close game there. I still don't know what secondary move that Ferrothorn had, whether it was Flash Cannon or Thunder. This battle's up against the Nut93, another top content creator on Twitch. Shadow Lapras. VENUSAUR does not win this in the 2 shield because the ice shard damage really adds up. So I get a shield advantage and then I use my safe swap here. But they have so much stored energy here. So I have to eat 1 surf. Have to shield this. But I'm in a tough spot. My VENUSAUR is pretty low. I do have some residual energy still. Out comes a Flygon. And the Flygon beats me to this move, unfortunately. And it's just enough to take me out. Terrible. Really, really bad for me. I'm going to bring out VENUSAUR. And I'm able to get to this Frenzy Plant. I have no idea what is in the back. They shield that. That's really bad for me because I'm going to get outpaced to a move here. It takes 4 mud shots to get to a Dragon Claw. It's just so dang spammy. And this Flygon is just going to output so much damage against my team because I don't have any fast move pressure against this thing. So even if I would have shielded my VENUSAUR, it would have been terrible because I'm pretty sure I would have lost CMP to Flygon. It would have taken me out anyways. I'm going to get hit by an Earth Power here. It's terrible. Out comes Lapras. This foul play I don't think is enough. They get an extra Ice Shard through. This is just all sorts of terrible. I can't farm this down. I have to throw another foul play. Yikes. What is in the back? What is in the back? What is it? Okay, it's a Defense Deoxys. So really... yeah, this was just a really tough scenario. The power of Flygon is kind of wild. I've seen a lot of people use like Shadow Flygon. I do have a Flygon build for Great League, but I really haven't considered running it at all. It's very spicy. But that Earth Power and like Dragon Claw damage is really nice. This is obviously a favorable lead for me, but if they just like no shield their Azu and go for the Ice Beam, I'm actually going to commit a shield with my VENUSAUR because I essentially have a full health Pokemon. They switch into Galarian Stunfisk. I don't have a hard punish to this, and so unfortunately I'm going to have to eat a Rock Slide here. I'm going to overfarm a little bit, chip with a Frenzy Plant, and then most likely get my Umbreon onto this thing. I'm going to swap right there. I catch a Rock Slide. Really good for me. The Azumarill has already absorbed a Frenzy Plant, so I know that if I'm stuck in the Umbreon versus Azu matchup, Last Resort should be just enough damage to take that out. They do go for Earthquake here. Nice play. I have back-to-back foul plays here, but I am anticipating them swapping into Azu here relatively soon. They're still in, so I'm going to throw another foul play. See what they want to do. They're not shielding like any of this. They probably store all this energy and then swap, but man, they are really loaded. They shield. I did not expect them to shield, so at this point I can just let this go. I'm anticipating that there's probably a Tropius in the back. They catch on their Azumarill. That's fine by me. I'm just going to bring out Sableye and actually farm this down. I still have a Frenzy stored on VENUSAUR. They bring out the Stunfisk. And I am worried about the Earthquake, but I get baited with Rock Slide. Unfortunate. And they get to another freaking Rock Slide. Amazing energy management by my opponent. And what is in the back? I'm predicting a Tropius. Oh, it's a Deoxys. I was not expecting this at all. And so, luckily, I do have the Frenzy stored. And so I think I can just go for the combo play here. Oh, my switch clock isn't up, but it doesn't matter. Rock Slide barely takes me out at this range, and then I easily win CMP. And I'm able to take out this Deoxys there. Good game. VENUSAUR. I've been loving using VENUSAUR. Oh. Yeah, I mean, this was actually insane. My opponent catches a Sludge Bomb on a Jirachi. Double resisted. Amazing play. So I'm able to hard punish this Jirachi with Umbreon, but that was insane. They just totally, like, randomly sack swap there, and they successfully caught the Sludge Bomb. So really nice play by them. They probably bring in the Victory Bell here. But Umbreon is still going to be able to get a lot of damage off on this thing. If this is Leaf Blade, I survive. Umbreon is a monster. Umbreon is an absolute monster. I get a shield there. It's really good for me. They swap into their own Umbreon, and I'm extremely slow to react here, so this is obviously a mistake. But I'm able to get my Venusaur into this Umbreon. This is kind of a wild match. My opponent is swapping all over the place. I know their Victory Bell still has some residual energy. I don't know if it has a move stored yet. I am at 100 energy here. I'm going to throw this first Frenzy Plant. Throw one Vine Whip, throw this next Frenzy Plant. They do shield that. They're out of shields now. So I pretty much just need to get to another move here because it's going to be very tricky for Victory Bell to farm me down. I was worried that they might try to sack swap there, but I'm able to successfully lay in this Frenzy Plant. I'm in a good spot. Out comes the Victory Bell. They have to throw at me. Unbelievably amazing counting by my opponent here. Like, this opponent played out of their mind. I bring in my Sableye, and I'm just barely able to get to this foul play before they can reach a Leaf Blade. Like, holy cow. The sack swaps were amazing. I definitely had them countered based on team comp, but they played very, very well. Good game to my opponent. Oh my gosh, look at this thing. Shadow Skuntank. I don't have a response to this, so I'm going to chip it with a Frenzy Plant. And then most likely actually bring out my Umbreon here. It is met with an Azumarill. Not great. So I somehow need to position myself into a farm down scenario with my Venusaur on the Azumarill, so I have more loaded energy to threaten that Skuntank in the back. But this is still very, very tough. They do go for Play Rough there. Shadow Skuntank beats my whole team. But how often do you see a Shadow Skuntank? I've seen one in out of, what, 150 battles? So pretty good odds there. Look how low I got this Azumarill, by the way, with Umbreon. That's pretty awesome. I'm up in shields. Now look at this. My opponent saves their Azumarill. Terrible for me, because now, like, my Sableye is going to have to also kind of deal with that Azumarill a little bit, because it still has a lot of residual energy. Foul Play's not enough to KO, and this was a CMP tie. Like, everything is just going wrong for me here. I have no idea what they could have in the back. I'm trying to farm this down. They don't get to a move. Thank goodness. If the Azumarill comes out, I know it has loaded energy, so I'm just going to go for this Foul Play. And they let it go. It's a Ferrothorn in the back. Very bad for me. This is like, what a wild team this is. I guess if you see a Toxicroak, you just leave the game. Because this Power Whip like barely doesn't KO, and then they Bullet Seed me down. It's so bad. It's so bad. And then, unfortunately, they're able to take me out here. They're most likely running Power Whip Thunder. My only win con is getting to 2 Sludge Bombs here, and it's just not going to happen. Even then, it would have barely been enough damage, but wow. I feel like I made that game pretty close for how terrible of a team comp that was for me, but really good games to my opponent and very fun team on their part. Venusaur into Deoxys. So this could potentially be the triple counter team. Most Deoxys in the lead run Psycho Boost. They do get an extra counter through. It takes 5 counters to get to Psycho Boost, so I have 2 dark types in the back, so there is absolutely no reason for me to stay in with Venusaur. Here comes the Umbreon. Very solid response to my Sableye. Not good for me. They shield the return, which is kind of wild, but their Umbreon is so healthy, so this is kind of tough for me. Their Deoxys still has like so much energy, but it did absorb a Frenzy. I'm just going to go for some Foul Play chip damage here. I was not going to get to return. This is tough, because this Umbreon is just going to go to town on my Venusaur here. I'm going to end up having to shield 1 Foul Play here, and I'm trying to farm as much energy as I can. I know the Deoxys is going to... They might come out and try to combo play me here. They do, and I'm able to... It's actually a Hypno. They have a Deoxys and a Hypno, so my Umbreon has so much work to do here. Deoxys has so much energy. Thank goodness this Hypno is just throwing like elemental punches at me, because that's really not that threatening. But Umbreon has so much work to do. It's just another Thunder Punch. I'm farming up as much as possible. I'm capped at 100 energy. They for sure let this go, and then they probably bring out their own Umbreon to tank all this energy. But I have energy. Oh, it's actually their Deoxys. Oof, this sucks. I have to absorb one Rock Slide. It was CMP though. I have a move stored on Venusaur if I remember, so I can go for the combo play. There it is. I'm actually forcing them to throw the energy here because I know saving the shield for my Venusaur is my win scenario. I have 2 moves stored. I'm going to throw in the Umbreon here. I'm capped at 100 energy. It's not even enough to take it out, so I'm going to throw another one, and then I'll be able to take out this Deoxys. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you appreciate the content, and I'll catch you all in the next video.